Hi guys, this is LaQuana, and I am talking to you today about the unit I designed regarding training at the for legal assistance at the Attorney General's office. We have a high turnover rate, and we spend a lot of time training people. So you may notice that these goals, the top of the paper here, this one and this one, do not match the goals that I designed where I placed it in Unit 7 for your unit. The goals that I listed in that one needed refining because they were performance goals and not educational goals. So I've adjusted it, and now my two goals are understand the appropriate tools necessary to construct legal documents as you see here, and collaboratively work with assigned training personnel to understand how to use the court rules and the standard operating procedures (SOPs). Um, I also see in my other one, I didn't align it correctly with the net standards. And there are tons of net standards that I could align it with. On purpose of this exercise, I picked two um, that I thought would go nicely. And these are the net standards for students to communicate and communication and collaboration. They were going to use digital media to interact and collaborate in public with peers, including at a distance. Now, the net standard definition is a lot longer on the website, but I shortened it here. Same thing with this one, researching information policy. They were going to use digital tools to gather, evaluate, and use information. Um, so these are my goals up here. These are the net standards. That is stage one. In stage two, we discuss assessments. Um, and like you all have realized, we had to decide really how we're going to assess them. I needed to figure out what performance things that we're going to do in order for me to decide how I'm going to assess it. So what you'll see here in the orange are the two that I wanted to initially use as my technology, how I want to integrate technology. What you see in the black is my backup plan B that are free. And so um, did some research and found some better tools, that don't cost a lot. So the first thing I wanted them to do was create a working manual. A working manual is really important in what we do. We don't always have time to look things up. And what happens is by them creating a manual, instead of me giving them a manual, which is what I was doing in previous years, they can create it in a way that works for them according to their learning style. Some people like lots of pictures, some people like lots of checklists, some people like highlighting things. This allows them to be creative and create their thing the way they want it. And organize it the way they want it, and be familiar with everything is that I have said for years, read this chapter, read that chapter, and what happens is um, when they get stressed, sometimes when a deadline is looming, I'll say, "Well, the check manual," and they'll be like, "Oh man, where's that at?" So by creating their own manual, they are more familiar with what everything is at because they've created it themselves. So in order to assess that, I wanted to use a checklist and self-assessment. The checklist, I encourage them to create their own checklist, but a lot of them don't have legal experience, and so they don't know what they need yet. So I would provide them with a basic one, and then as they learn new things, they can incorporate it, change the checklist, add new things to it. And then we talked about self-assessment, and it was a requirement for. So I created one, as you see in my Unit 7 Share Your Unit, uh, or log number 7 Share Your Unit, where they could review how they felt they were doing. They didn't have to share it with me, but it's always an option to share it with their trainer. Um, but it gives them the opportunity to really think about what they think they need, or what they think the trainers haven't provided, or what their weaknesses or their strengths are. One of the next assignments they were going to be doing, which is one of the most important things that they're going to be doing, is creating legal documents and constructing these things. I would be assessing it through a rubric, and below I have a copy of the rubric so you can look at it. For that, I use RubaStar, and I know I'll talk about RubaStar. I didn't sense that it talked about it in a positive light. It seemed more like don't use it because it's bulleted. It's already pre-filled. The It's pre-filled, but you can change it to lines look filled. I cleared it out. But what it does is give you a starting point. So if you don't have a lot of assessment experience, and you don't have rubric creating experience, and you're on a time crunch, I would suggest playing around in there, and getting a feel for Superstar. I thought it was great, really, from my level of expertise. It was very minimal in creating rubrics. I intended for students to use Dropbox, and kind of like we did, so I won't spend too much time about it, but I thought it was really instrumental. It would be really instrumental for the people that I train, because a lot of times we have very little trainers, and we have people in outlying cities in Barrow and Fairbanks, and we spend a lot of money and time sending people out there. Um, and the people out there, we still have a hard time because they feel like they still don't get the handles that they need from us. And so I thought it'd be very beneficial for whoever's training them to do a little bit of it in Dropbox. And so how it would look is, you know what Dropbox looks like, but I wanted to show you what one of the documents we create would look like. Um, this is just a basic letter. Change the information around. And what they would do is they would create this letter. Normally, they would get ding, circle this, check this, just correction they need to make. But this one they would drop in a Dropbox, and someone, a trainer or whoever training them, would add the narration up here, to tell them what it is they needed to correct. Now, what I found, voice direct costs money. That's expensive. $20 a month is not expensive, but if you're on a time crunch, when you're on a budget, you're not, but I know the ASD's making budget cuts, but Microsoft XP also offers narration, so you would just go into, in your top of your screen where it says review, mailing preferences. Click on review if you have Microsoft Word XP, and it has a narration feature. So that is plan B for you guys if you want to try it out. The second thing, the last thing, excuse me, is quick notes. I want them to spend time creating their notes, highlighting, labeling, tabbing, take an hour a day to do these things that they're not going to have time to do later. And to help them assess them, we'll be having a pre-test and a post-test. Initially, I wanted to use Smart Response VE, but that's also a little spendy, so Quizlet for Plan B. And I want to show you guys, since we're required to actually walk you through technology here. This is what, let me move it over some, Quizlet looks like. And anyone can go in here. It's a free program. You can create, let me click on this person. I don't know who they are. I typed in legal earlier in my search engine up top, on Quizlet. And these are the words, these are definitions. Well, you can create these flashcards, and on the front of it has the word. They can do the definition, click the flip, and tells you what the meaning is. And disbarment, same thing. Just click on it, it flips it. They also have, you can see it here, spelling test. If you have students who have difficulty reading, and need to rely on, uh, they need to rely on, where is it? Um, Voice. You can hover over here, and you can actually click on here, and it will read the item to you. And so this is actually a really good site. I played around with it. I created some myself. It's free. You have fun with it. You can create. You could check anyone's. Like I did geography last night and just tested how I would be at geography, fifth grade geography. So you can do any topic, any subject. It's really something I really want to use in my office. I'm gonna move along here because we have 9 minutes. So that's the technology I want to use. That is stage 2 assessment. This is the rubric that I created in Ruberstar. It was really great. It gave me really a launching pad for creating a rubric. Stage 3 was my learning plan. You guys have already seen this, but this is some of the things I wanted them to do. I was most excited about demonstration of knowledge, where they would get 1 hour each day to review the court rules and make notes, highlight specific areas, create index cards for quick access. this was really exciting to me because it's something I didn't get when I was in training, and I still spend time now, still creating note cards and um, flashcards and highlighting things and tabbing things. And so the ability to give the trainees an hour a day to create the things, the tools, to make the necessary tools they're going to need later on, I think is really instrumental and is really going to be have help them achieve what we need them to achieve. And really, it's not just about learning; it's about keeping people. We, cutting down our turnover, making sure staff is happy, making sure